everybody. Welcome to Mindforked. I am Akashi Chris, your horse. Your horse for today. Akashi Chris. I cannot do the nay, but if I could, I would, because that is how we roll around here. So I am Akashi Chris. Welcome on this lovely Wednesday, July 10th. I've got a show ready for you guys. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay, whoever's in chat. I'm just so happy to be here on this Wednesday. So I've got people. I've got people. Let's say hi to a couple people. I got Lasso. I see Diane Boss. I see Gypsy Road, and of course our guest who is backstage right now, who's probably wondering what he just signed up for, and he's about to find out. So, oh my God, hey Marley, Timmy, how are you guys? It's so good to see you. So, let me say hi to Timmy and Cosmic Carousel. Hi, darling Marley. And Lasso. Hola, everyone. Hello. So, what are we going to be doing today? I'm so excited. I actually met Vinnie in person in Roswell. And it was so fun. I was like so super high energy. Not that I'm like at all different right now. But so I was like super high energy and I'm like, Vinnie Barbarino. And I kept calling him Vinnie Barbarino, right? And I'm thinking I'm just adorably, clever. Then it dawned on me about a week ago that I'm not sure that he even knows what Welcome Back Cotter is or who Vinnie Barbarino was. And he was probably wondering if I just didn't even know his name correctly when I met him and Dancy and Roswell in the middle of like Nick Pope and Mark D'Antonio and Bryce Sable. And I'm like, Vinnie Barbarino. He's probably like, what an idiot. But we are here to clear the air on all that today. So I'm so excited that he's here. So let me go ahead and tell you about my special guest. Not that, if you know me, you definitely know him because he's like so much more popular than I am. But I'm going to go ahead and tell anybody that might not know who my special guest is. So we got Vinnie Adams. He's a host of Disclosure Team, UFO researchers. He's been in the business for a while. He's going to tell us about this. He's a member of UAP Media UK and the Phenomenology Group studying the mysterious lights of Columbia. He's a man that I mean, when I think about people that are passionate in this business, definitely Vinnie. Vinnie's up there on that list. He just lives and breathes this. So without any further ado, let me go ahead and welcome my special guest, Vinnie Adams Barbarino. Hi.
Hey, Chris, thanks for having me. It's so good to be here. And I'll tell you now, when you call me Vinnie Barbarino, I was like, I recognize that from somewhere. But I couldn't quite put my finger on it. But I love it.
God.
I love it.
I'm such an idiot. I was like, Vinnie Barbarino. I have so many. You'll see a couple of my other unrelatable references because I like come up with all this retro stuff. Oh my God, guess he just joined the chat. Granty!
Hey, what's up, Grant?
Grant, hi, Granty Poo. That's my Yoda right there. When we started this whole thing, we started together, and we were in chats together all the time. And oh my God, Michael Huntington! Yes, Travolta! Just wait for it because I'm in marketing, right? I'm in marketing and IT. I'm like a nerd that likes marketing. It's kind of like that purple squirrel. So I have all kinds of ideas. And I was like, okay, Vinnie Barbarino. Oh my God, we should totally reboot Welcome Back Cotter. So I'm here to pitch you my new concept. We're going to reboot Welcome Back Cotter with UFO edition. So let's see what you think about that. Not all my ideas are winners, but I'm hoping this one takes off. Because I don't know if you don't even know the show, do you?
No.
The premise of the show is a teacher and these kids that were really like 30-year-olds. So he was probably like 25, but they played like high school kids and they had the nice little, oh my God, we have so many people. I'm so excited. They had, they really looked up to Mr. Carter. Okay. That was Washington called Mr. Carter. So again, unrelatable references. Fab baby, fabs, mwah, mwah, love you, babe. And then we have Moon and Noon. I'm so excited. And SoCal Squatcher. I get a mix of like I get some homesteading channels. I get a lot of Bigfoot channels. I get UFO. It's like they all kind of merge in this mind forked way. So here is my pitch, my friend. So first of all, since you don't know, this is so hard. I'm like, here's the theme in case this might ring a bell.
Okay.
Hold on. I can't play too much of it because I'll get in trouble. So the whole song is the spirit of the show, right?
Okay.
It's like, welcome back to a place, check it out. And I'm not going to sing because I'm not a singer. That would probably kill this channel completely. It's like defibrillate the channel if Chris sings. So I'm thinking, hold on. I got to turn this around. Hold on, Skippy. Hold on, Skippy. I have to have you on the left side. So I'm thinking, welcome back, Cotter, UFO edition. Now, there's no reboot unless you have a casting idea. And because you're already Vinnie Barbarino, so reprising the role from John Travolta, Vinnie Barbarino is Vinnie Adams. There's Vinnie Adams. You got to show that to Caro. Caro, you might want to frame this because he's looking so Rico Suave with his, long. Like if you wanted to know Caro, what he looks like with the long black hair, this is it. But we can't leave it there because it's like a team effort, right? So I got it all worked out in my head. I got it. So there's another character, a special character of Horseshack. This was like the really lovable character. He was just so cute, So for him, I am thinking our friend Grammy Randall. Grammy Randall! I hope he sees this someday. I know that his time is a little bit different. But, oh my God, doesn't he look so adorable? He just makes the perfect, this is Grammy before. And by the way, Graham, we are totally with you. On a serious note, we're totally with Graham on the struggles that he is having with Amazon. If you guys want to see what the stigma of the subject does to people and to their daily lives, go look at the Twitter feed of Graham Randall, because that was absolute bull crap. So we say, boo, Amazon from Mindforked. I got nothing to lose. No. So we stand for Graham because he's so great in that hair. We're going to have to send this to him so he didn't see it. So next up, the next character. Since you don't know the characters, I get to introduce you to them too. Juan Epstein. Juan Epstein, I'm about to twist your mind right now. Juan Epstein was the Puerto Rican Jew. That was technically, he was Juan Epstein. And by the way, I'm Puerto Rican. Not that I'm just laying it out. My mother used to work at a Jewish community center when I was a child, so I basically grew up at bar mitzvahs. So I'm going to throw my hat in the ring for a twist on Juan Epstein with me. And this is not, even though this could have probably been my perm picture from high school, this was not. But well, don't you think it's like we can spice it up? We can do the Hispanic card, just give it a little twist, I'm going to say hello to a couple of people before we introduce our Qatar. Andrew, hi Andrew, so good to see you. And we got Rockster 8970 Abel. Last time I said that, I said it wrong. I said it right today, Rockstar. So back to, oh my God, there's Caro. Caro, what did you think? Did you need this, right? Bam. Welcome back. Says Vinnie at home now. I'm just kidding. So next comes the special character. So I was trying to think, I'm going to get in so much trouble. Mr. Cotter, right? He's the teacher. He's teaching us all. And, with some books that are coming out soon, I was thinking since, I'm Puerto Rican and Cuba is only a couple of islands away, we go with the Hispanic card for diversity. And we go with Elizondo as Mr. Cotter. Do you think we can make that happen, Vinny?
I think we can make it happen.
You need to tell him and be like, he can welcome back. Hold on, I'm a one-man band here, so it's hard for me to do production, but and he would be like holding, like writing on the board. I'm thinking we got a hit this winter, this fall. Vinny, Disclosure Team, Mindforked, let's do it. We're gonna do.
That's so cool. I love that.
So anyway, those are called icebreakers in the world of Mindforked, like mixers. When we get together like this, it's just to break the ice. But I really do want to say, welcome to Mindforked, and I love having you here. I want people to really get to know you on a serious note, because I was telling you before the show, and I said it in the intro, and I'm totally mean it, that your passion is very palpable. And I want people to understand where that passion comes from, because maybe that's where they can find their passion, with the subject. So if you want to kind of get us going, just how did you get started in this? What was that little thing that got you going? Tell me a little bit about that and tell our audience if that's okay.
That's a really good question. And I will just say thank you so much. That was an amazing introduction to a show. I've never had anything like it. So that was just incredible. That's one to remember for sure. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think, I'm a child of the 80s. I was born in 77. So, in my early years, we were blessed with a plethora of really good science fiction movies. So many to name, but I remember my parents took me to see E.T. that actually went to the movies. And, I probably was only about 5 or 6, but I remember it because, and I'll never live this down, I cried at the end when he went home. And my parents have never, ever stopped telling me that. You cried at E.T. And of course...
If you wouldn't have a heart, come on. Exactly, you had a heart. No, there's no shame in crying in ET. If you don't cry during ET, then there's a problem.
But that, obviously these I was watching all of these science fiction movies and stuff. And so my imagination was sparked from such a young age about the possibilities of what may lie out there. And I guess, that really sort of set me on a path of being inquisitive and asking questions and wanting to know more. Always had an interest in space and stuff. And I guess through my 20s was a lot of discovery about the world. And I was watching a lot of documentaries about nature and the world we live in. And that then expanded into astronomy, astrology, and all sorts of weird and wonderful. That then led into fringe subjects. So I've kind of touched upon everything from New World Order to Bigfoot and everything, but I landed on UFOs, and for some reason that's the one that I stuck with, because that's the one that really kind of grabbed me, and I was like, I need to do something with this, I guess that's where it started.
Hold on, sorry, I had to mute because I'm like typing with the chat and I want to make sure that it doesn't bounce off. But no, that is fantastic, because a lot of people say like it's an experience that brought them. But I like the inspiration. I like the fact that, because I'm not an experiencer, but I don't need to see enough data to know, that something is happening. Yeah. So I love the fact that it was more like an inspiration that came from, and who knows if it came from the Akashic Records itself, where you were chosen to, to follow this path. So how did you get from there? So, hi, hero, we need a hero. I always sing that song when Hero comes up. Andrew! So Hero and Andrew. So how did we get from there, from that passion to... did you start on social media, like on Instagram? I believe you started on Instagram. Like, what inspired you to create a channel about it and start talking to people? Like, how did that start?
Yeah, so I guess there's a little gap between the sci-fi stuff growing up and the different subjects to starting the social media. For probably a good close to a decade, I was just sat in my room going through all of the declassified government documents, primarily US, but of course there is quite an abundance of UK records, Brazilian records, Australian. So I was trying to sort of dig into a lot of records. And I guess, after a decade, I wanted to do something else. And that's when the pandemic hit. So I was at home. We all were at home with a bit of time. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to start putting stuff out there. And I just started posting stuff on Instagram. And at that time, I guess a lot of people were online and on social media, but my account just suddenly started going crazy. And I was like, oh, wow, this is not what I was expecting. So I kind of embraced it. all from behind the scenes. I didn't like do anything domain. I always thought I was someone who shouldn't be on the camera. I was like too shy.
Oh, you're silly. You're so silly.
But yeah, it grew and grew and grew. And I was like, right, you know, it got to a point where I was like, I need to either dedicate everything to this or not. And I decided to just go for it.
That's awesome. And I love that you started with the research, because that's like a perfect foundation. It gives you like the discipline that you do need to research. People need to go back in the historical, as much history as we are able to capture, that we're allowed to see. But, you know, at least have that baseline. You know, I love that, because that allows you to talk to, you know, so many different types of people at so many, you know, so many different levels. So hi. So I have comments. Oh my goodness. Yeah. People are like, you really need to be on camera. You're great. Oh my God, Sage. And Sage and Cosmic Carousel. Were you at Vinnie's A-Ruff? I can't remember. You guys have been on the same screen. Hi, Sage. So I think we were like at the Richard Dolan event.
Oh, yes.
Cosmic Carousel Marley was there, and that's where we met, and then we became really great friends, and we talk every day now.
Amazing.
And it's those events kind of bring people together. So talking about teamwork and people together, tell me a little bit about how you and Graham and Dan, because I saw you guys in action, and I don't want to say Charlie's Angels because that would be a little too much, but it's like a guys, UFO guys, Charlie's Angels. You guys were like on track. And so tell me about how you guys kind of hooked up and a little bit of background on that.
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. And it's funny because I'd obviously started this social media stuff. And so I was really like new to the community, because all I would done is research. So trying to figure out who's who, who's what when it comes to the UK, the US. Obviously, you know, my early inspirations, people like Stanton Friedman, Richard Dolan, and Grant Cameron, so many of the people that we're familiar with. But I wanted to know more. So I started looking into the UK, and I came across UAP Media UK. They did an interview with George Knapp on Coast to Coast, and it was the early days. So I think it was only Dan, Dave, Andy from That UFO podcast, and I'm sure there was maybe Adam Goldsack. So I suddenly found this group of UK researchers, and I was like, oh my goodness, they seem well established. They seem like they've got really good things happening. I was like, I'd love to be in a group like that one day. And, you know, just through my continuing posting and researching and putting stuff out there, in 2021, I was invited to join them. You know, and this is a group that I highly respected, and I didn't imagine myself getting to be a part of something like that. I always found myself as I'm kind of a solo person in my mind. So being able to join quite an established group was really something, you know, and here we are today, and it's just it's amazing to have those people to bounce off of, to work with, to learn from, because, you know, I've been to research at the National Archives with Graham Rendell, and I tell you what, that is something else. He is just the best of the best when it comes to research. So, you know, we all bounce off each other. We are just a great group of friends now. So I'm very blessed.
Having seen you guys in person, and now hearing kind of the backstory, I thought you guys had known each other for much, much longer. So, but it's that chemistry. And there is something about this community that, and we feel it at the conferences when we see people. It's like the energy when we meet them in person, that energy of that in-person meeting, and that, I don't know if it's sharing, is it the fact that we have that common bond of believing in something that a lot of people don't even want to address. You know, I don't know, you know, but.
Well, I think what I found, especially from meeting people in person at conferences, was that it really does it makes it very clear to me that we can come from so different backgrounds from all over the world, but when we come together, we still have that one common bond. And I love that feeling, you know. It's like we found our tribe, you know. It's our little tribe.
That's it. It's the tribe. It's like
Yeah.
that whole tribe thing. I met like when I went to Vernal the first time. It was my first experience UFO symposium, and I mean, I talked to Carl the Crusher for
Yeah.
45 minutes about Göbekli Tepe. He chose
Nice.
to talk to me. I met Paul Hynek, and it's like you meet these people and you get to know them, and they're not just face on a screen. Nick Pope. What a personality he is, right? Who
Yes.
knew Nick Pope would be like just the cutest, just most active, social, little social butterfly. So anyway, so I'm glad you found those guys, and but I am going to ask you I'm going to be inserting um, little segments along the way. By the way, Fat,
Awesome.
yes, I know you want Lynn here. She hasn't blacklisted you. We'll talk later. This is the part that I have to play with my friends. I gotta take care of business and make sure it's like, where's Lynn? I was like, what about us? What about me? So the next part, and I love this one, your Cindy Brady moment. So if you guys ever watched the Brady Bunch, there's an episode where Cindy is like, she's going to go on TV and she is like braggadocious about it, right? She's like telling everybody, I'm going to be on TV, and total no humility. And then when she actually gets there, she completely freezes. So my question to you is, your moment. Have you had that moment? I'll share my moment if you want to laugh. Here's my moment with John Alexander. I completely panicked, dude. It was the first person I got to talk to, and I'm like, John Alexander. I didn't know what to say. So what's yours? What's your Cindy Brady moment?
Wow. I mean, I think there's probably quite a lot. I'm going to go with this one though, but obviously with my research years in my early days, I was very aware of Stephen Greer and the Disclosure Project and everything he did back in 2001 at the National Press Club. It was very official. He had these whistleblowers, but then we had it again in 2013 with it was like a mock congressional hearing, wasn't it? With Steve Bassett and everyone like that. And to me, after watching those, I think it was 3-4 days of it in front of ex-members of Congress, I was like, this is becoming real, where we're getting to the point where we're getting, okay, congressional people involved. But I could then start seeing that in a few years' time, we could get in front of Congress for real. And of course it happened. But I had that moment where I was like, maybe we are actually finally on the cusp of getting this subject out of the stigma and everything, and actually getting it in front of the world on a serious level. And of course it happened. And I'm so happy for that. So 2013, I think, was a pivotal year for me.
So you were actually part of all that. That's really, I mean, that's really. When did you actually meet? I'm trying to figure out if.
No, this was all before, like 2013.
This is before, 2013 was way before you were in this. But
I was watching it all in the background, completely in the background, but just starting to not just research, but look at the way that the subject was growing, the community was growing. But I had no contacts or no one else in it, but it all was building up to that point.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it's exciting times.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, for quite some time, there was like a level playing field with the UFO subject. Like it was almost like every year there was the same conversations. Pre-2017, it wasn't in the public domain. So we needed this breakthrough. I thought 2013 might be it. It didn't quite happen, but of course it did happen in 2017. So it was a ride.
So what do you think? And we're gonna get to that, but I might as well go there now. So from we went to 2017, and then as of late we had David Rush, and people go back and forth on this, and I'm like, let's let the process work itself. But but now we've had a year. So what are your thoughts? How do you handle that? And give some hope, because sometimes people just focus on that small moment. Think about how long we waited, right? And now we're kind of in this lull. So maybe you have some insights for.
I mean, it's difficult. It is. We've had, I've been in this subject, in this public space, like as I am now, for 3 or 4 years, and I've seen those, like, it's like a roller coaster. You have the highs and you have the lows, and I feel like we're in this low now where there's not a lot happening publicly. I'm lucky to have conversations with people where I know things are happening behind the scenes, but these are the times where I would say to anybody that's feeling any kind of frustration or anything, is these are the times where you go and do your own research and you look back in the historical record, because then you'll start just adding to your own wealth of knowledge. You can start seeing correlations between the cases that we know have happened in the last 20 years to things that happened 70 years ago, and start building your own picture of the subject. And I think that's kind of the best thing to do, rather than sitting around getting frustrated, twiddling your thumbs, waiting for the next thing to drop into your lap. Go out there and kind of find your own little path. That's kind of what I've always done. It helps.
I love that, because number one, it gets you more engaged, right?
Yeah.
You're doing your own research. Number two, what we tend to do is, like, again, and I have this whole conspiracy thing. It's like we're being just led to having such a attention span of a gnat, to where we'd rather read a tweet and assume that it debunks something than do our own research, or on the flip side, that it proves something, then do some extra research. Rather than saying, you see, that's not real, or you see, this isn't real. It's like, go find your own research. Don't count on somebody small, like that moment. It's like you start assuming it's debunked because you've read it was debunked, right?
Sure.
So it's like, that's the way to get in your head from even trying to look into something. And sometimes you got to just keep asking the questions, even though, I don't want to be like obnoxious, but it's like you can't just let it go or count on one opinion, or jump to conclusions. So
yeah.
Hi, Car. How are you? Good to see you. So I'm just saying hi to people as they come in. So what is, on a personal level, what is your biggest pet peeve?
My biggest pet peeve. Wow, that's tough. I guess it's cliche to say, but
it's okay.
there's a lot of infighting in this subject. A lot of differences of opinion. A lot of people don't like this person and that person, and it's obvious that's happening in this community, like it does in a lot of others. My pet peeve is, I guess, just people not willing to accept that other people have differences of opinion and that we can still get along. I have a lot of friends who I work with we're all in the same boat. We all believe pretty similar things when it comes to this subject, but I have friends who are ardent skeptics, and they're my friends, because what we do is when we meet, we have a very deep conversation, and at the end of it, we agree to disagree. We still shake hands. We do it over a beer.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like, that's what we need. So when I see like negativity and name calling because, well, you don't believe the same thing as me, therefore you're a fill in the blank. That, I guess that's a bit of a pet peeve. I try not to get involved in that. I think it wastes time.
I'm totally with you, and I'm a big proponent that if name calling is your last, if that's what you got nothing. Because if you had something, you wouldn't name call. It's like, you got it. Let's, why can't we do this in a respectful way? Why does it have to be that I have to believe 100% of whatever this person believes to believe a little bit? Right. We are all snowflakes. None of us have it right. None of us know all the answers. So, I can agree with you on one thing and disagree on another, but that doesn't make or break us or keep us from, why the heck do I want to be friends with just myself? Because that's basically what we're saying, that we can only tolerate people that believe exactly what we believe, and that is all there's to it. And the powers that be are driving us into a tug of war. I'm seeing it. I feel like I get a vibe. It's like it's in all the tech around us. It's like we're being driven to have a tug of war on all subjects. And UFO is a really big one that, it seems like a lot more games are played than, in a lot of other places. But it's starting to bleed through. The hate is like, it's happening in different communities. It's not just UFOs. It's true. Yeah. It's sad.
Exactly. I've spoken to people online. I've had those sort of negative interactions online with people, and then I've actually met some individuals in person, And instantly the beef was squashed, because you realize that when that person's in front of you, you get a lot more understanding of where they're coming from. It's not just an angry keyboard in front of you that you just want to like throw out into the ether. It's, it's a human being in front of you. And I think sometimes, and I may be guilty of this, I don't know, is like sometimes it's too easy to just type on a keyboard and throw a response out there and not understand that sometimes the knock-on effect might be taken in a way that you didn't intend. And I always try and be kind of cautious of something like that,
There's no context. I mean, you could, when you write, there's no nonverbals. There's no tone of voice. There's no, there's no punchline. None of that. And that's how people, they're not going to see it with any context. You have to, I rewrite my stuff so much, because I start to think, what if I'm like taking my filters off? I see it a certain way because it's the way I talk. Sometimes I'm seen as a little more aggressive because I get all passionate, because I'm sitting here, I'm showing you my hands, right?
Sure.
But if I type this in uppercase, people are not going to understand. So, I mean, exactly. I appreciate the responsibility that you have to not add fuel to the fire. Yeah. There's some things that have to be let go, that cannot be controlled. You can't control everything.
No, exactly.
And what is disclosure to you, by the way? I wanted to ask you that. What exactly does it mean to you? Everybody has a little bit different perception.
Changed. It changes all the time. From when I started Disclosure Team, it was this ideological kind of moment in time where we get official confirmation of a non-human intelligence being here on Earth. And I guess it still means that to me, but I think what I've realized in the last few years is that it becomes much more of there's a lot more to it. It's not just one thing. Here, we're announcing disclosure. There you go. You've had it. It's this process that we've been going through. It's getting people engaged, whether it be politically, whether it be congressionally, but also publicly, because we've been crying out for years to see mainstream media take the subject seriously. And we've begun to start seeing that in the last few years. So that's another big plus. Sometimes they don't report it in the greatest of ways, but I think we're still starting to see something better. So this journey for me is what is disclosure. It's leading up to something. And I do believe, and I don't like the word belief that much, but I believe we are moving towards some kind of future where if there's something to this, we are going to find out. And if there's not, I'll hold my hands up and say I was wrong. I have no problem with that, because at the end of the day, through all of this that I've been doing, I've met some of the most amazing people ever, and I will have friends for life. So it doesn't matter to me.
I love that, because we might never get, what some people call disclosure. Right? If you talk to Stephen Bassett, and you've had him on, obviously, Steve Bassett is all about, the president, getting up there and saying this is what it is. Do we really need that? I mean, we know. I'm in trouble a little bit on my channel because I'm looking at all the programs that have happened in the past. And it's like looking back at everything that happened and how things were hidden for so long. And then some things came out. We're still in that period where we don't know jack about Roswell. I'm like, of all things, Roswell, come on. It's like balloons don't change people.
No.
Seeing a balloon does not change a large group of people in a way that they no longer communicate with their family and friends the way that they used to. They became somber. Their lives changed. You can play it any way you want. Something happened there, and a balloon does not do that. And then you don't change, you change stories. You change, went from one story to the other. The minute you change stories, I don't need to be there to know that suspect is hell. It's like you're hiding something. It's like enough, so that's one of my many anchor cases. Let me ask you, what are those cases that that when you have that bad day, right? There's some days that you see so much hate that you want to give this up, right? You're like, you know what, this is stinks. What are those cases that, those compelling things that you're like, there's no way, this keeps me anchored to this subject?
Yeah, I mean, we've got our classic cases. You already mentioned Roswell there. For me, in the early days of research and going through all Project Blue Book files and things like that, it was just amazing to see the narrative. And, at the end of Blue Book, you have these 701 cases that could not be classified as anything. They were anomalous. 701 anomalous cases still out of Blue Book. One in particular for me is a 1956 case that happened in the UK, joint UK-US military case. There are things like this that really jump out to me. Things like 1964 Socorro, New Mexico with Lonnie Zamora as a big case to me. Falcon Lake in the Canada in the 70s, cases that they've been given the airtime over the years, but in this day and age, they seem to have kind of fallen into the background. And this is again why I reiterate the importance of going back and looking at the historical record when it comes to cases, because so many of them are still resonating with the stuff that we hear about today. So yes, 64 Socorro is a huge one for me. Falcon Lake, I think that was 76. I'm trying not to pick the obvious ones. I'm trying to go a little bit.
No. I love that you picked Lonnie Zamora, because you say that those people forget about those cases. I mean, that one comes up all the time. But on top of it, I met, did you meet Marianne Robbs from UAPPD? She was at Mark D'Antonio's booth when we were at Roswell.
I think I saw them there. I didn't speak to them. Yeah.
You know what they do? It's support for police department, and it was originally inspired by Lonnie Zamora. So now they've actually have an organization that works, in multiple, they're trying to go to like multiple states. I think I need to catch up with them and see how they're doing, but they're doing some really good work. So it's not all, it's not all forgotten, but people don't talk about that.
Right.
And that's awesome. It's like UAPPD came out of Lonnie Zamora case because cops felt like, talk about stigma, if they turn around and told their fellow officers or their sergeants at the time, it was like so they needed help. So it's police officers helping other police officers.
That's amazing.
And I think that is, those are the moments, those are the things that we need to celebrate when things get so depressing.
Yeah,
so
completely agree.
and because we want to turn it up a little bit. So Fab has the loudest and craziest. Okay, Fab says I have the loudest and craziest voice. Why do men walk off and disappear? I don't know, babe. I'm no delicate flower, Fappy, and I'm totally fine with that. So now I'm totally okay with that. He's seen me in person. I'm like Chris on the run. Hey, I got to meet so many freaking people doing that, and I regret nothing. I have no regrets. I mean, dude, no regrets. Off my throat. Okay, so excuse me. So now we got the next segment. We're going to be asking you some questions. Let me see.
Chris, let me just take a second. Can I just go and turn a fan on quickly because I'm starting to burn up.
Of course. Do that. Minute. Go for it. No problem. How you guys doing in chat? If you guys have any questions for Vinnie, please feel free to put them on the chat in uppercase so I can ask him. I hope you guys are having a good time. We're only going to be here till about 7:15, so depending. So we're doing good. And I'm just happy to be here on this Wednesday and see you guys all here. Let me say hi. Send the comments. We got SoCal, Sear, Lasso, and Fab says only love. Yes, especially love for Lynn. It's always Lynn. I'm always Jan. So like Jan from Jan Brady. Am I invisible? So here we go. So are you gonna play a game? No, not that one. We already played that. Hold on. We're going to play a special quiz. And it is about, and don't worry, Carol, this is the Akashic Platonic Dream Date. Pick a a door. What does that mean? Let me turn this down, actually. It's a little bit loud. So what does this mean? Carol, do not worry. This is not that type of date. What's going to happen today is I'm going to present Vinnie. So you see that hallway? You are about to pick a door. Behind those doors are higher level beings of people that you've known in this current realm in the past, people in history. So I'm going to present 4 for you, and you only get to pick one.
Okay.
One choice, okay? Door number 1, we have English Earl Tea with Nikola Tesla. It's English Earl Tea because you're British, and I decided to just throw it all out there because I've been watching the Great British Baking Show. So think about this.
Okay.
This is, I love it. We'll talk later. We're going to talk food. Door number 1, we got Tesla. Let me put this in a little loop so we can have some fun, like little game show. I have to have music to keep me going during the day. Door number 2. Are you ready for door number 2? Series Jubilee, Courvoisier, and probably cigars with Carl Jung. Ooh, the things you could talk about. So door number 1, you got Tesla and some anti-gravity and maybe his death rate. Door number 2, you got King of Psychology here. He knew his stuff, and he was actually pretty much into Hermetica as well. I feel like I'm like selling these guys for him. He looks good. He's wearing his suspenders. He's Carl Jung. And next, door number 3, a kegger with Albert Einstein. A kegger, buddy. He's got the beer. You have the beer. You guys can bond. They get to tell you the truth, right? You get to ask him questions. But wait, there's a final twist. Because I remember you're not going to remember this, but you and I hung out in some online thing where they had like a museum and you were really into art. It was like Olaf was there.
Yeah,
so
I remember.
I remember things. I'm a people person. Door number 4, they at the museum with Leonardo da Vinci. Hard choices. Hard choices. This is like Sophie's choice, man. So I'm going to bring them again. Tea with Tesla. Cherries, Courvoisier, and cigars with Carl Jung. The kegger with Einstein. Be careful with that one. And Day at the Museum with Da Vinci. I'm going to turn the music down so we can listen to your final answer and be ready to explain why.
Absolutely. That's a really, really, I love this. I love
you like
this.
It? You like it?
It's great.
I was like, difficult. I think it's cool. Okay, I know. But the no answers are final. You could, you could eventually. But if you had a choice and you had one moment, you're in the Akashic hallway, man.
Well, let me talk you through my thought process right now. You see, I think normally I would probably go with Leonardo da Vinci. I've been to some amazing expeditions of his in Italy and in the UK. That would normally be my choice, but I'm not gonna go with that one. I'm actually gonna go with Nikola Tesla. 2 reasons. One, he was born on this day in 1856, so about 138 years ago today he was born.
Hey, shut the hell up. Hold on. Today's Tesla's birthday?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Today's Tesla's birthday. I love Tesla so much. As my friends, I created an entire video of the scientist from Coldplay to Tesla's story in reverse because he's, oh my God, Tesla. Birthday with Tesla. How did I miss today? Oh my God! So what would you talk to him about? Tell me how to go. A little bit, just a little teaser. It's like first of all, you'd freak out, but go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'd freak out completely. I mean, I think what comes to mind is initially, when he died lonely in that hotel, and his records and documents, they seized them, the government or whichever agency. So I'd want to know what was contained in those documents. I'd love to have that conversation with him, but also go back into some of his earlier work with the ether and this idea that he was either so close to finding free energy from nothing, or he had cracked it and we just don't know. So that's what I want to, I really want to sit down and go, come on, Nikola, lay it all out.
Nikola was so, when I think of the 4, Nicholas, the one that really pulls on my heartstrings, because in looking, when I was doing that, I was doing a music video and I was looking at his life, and it's like, man, every time he made it progress, boom,
Yeah.
his lab got destroyed. Wardenclyffe, you know, uh, Astor from the Titanic was his main financier, and he died the day of the Titanic. John Astor. So
There
that
you
was
go.
one of the people that perished there. It's like every time he got close to something, he something got in the way. But I love his whole thing about if you solve a problem 369, like if you realize the significance of numbers 3, 6, and 9, you can solve the whole thing. And I'm like, man, it's such a riddle. But
Yeah.
he knew his stuff, and he was into thought experiments too, and so was Einstein. So they went into these thought experiments, which are a lot of people call access to the Akashic records, like meditation.
Yeah,
They
sure.
went
Yeah.
into that silent state to receive things. Most of these scientists, and people that changed the world did. So let me ask you something. Do you meditate? Is that part of what's a day in the life of Vinny when it comes to this stuff?
I don't actually meditate. There's no reason why I don't. I think I'm always on the
Mm-hmm.
go, or there's always something happening, or I've got something I need to do. Don't get me wrong, I do have my downtime, but
Mm-hmm.
that's normally catching up with YouTube and stuff that I've missed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a never ending circle. We all have that little watch later list on YouTube. My watch
Mm-hmm.
later list, mine is just never ending. It never
Oh,
ends.
I'm sure you probably have stuff from like 2 years ago still in your watch later list,
So,
because especially if you were doing so much research.
but no, a day
So
in the life, I find a good balance between this subject and everyday life. I try to anyway, because I do feel the burnout every now and again, when it just feels like this is all too much and it gets on top of you. I need a day off, a couple of days off. Doesn't happen that often, but boy, when it happens, I recognize it. I think, like, for anybody out there that struggles with anything, whether it's life, their job, family, anything, we all have that kind of mental state where it becomes too much. And I just say to anyone, take some time for yourself. And
I think that's the best advice. It's like sometimes you have to walk away. It's like
yeah,
there's sometimes it's like it doesn't matter how great things are. Sometimes it's like you got a cocoon. It's almost it's a reset of sorts.
sure.
So we have a question. Oh my God, Kelly Lewis. We got a question from the chat,
All right.
from Carnundrum. Carnundrum says, sorry, hey, he's Canadian. Question, has he seen a UFO? Are you an experiencer?
Great question, Conundrum. Good to see you. Have I seen UFO? I've seen a lot of things in the sky over the years, but one thing I've always done is been able to use, whether it be an app on my phone, and say, what is that I'm seeing right now? So 9 times out of 10, I've always been able to, put it down to a satellite or a star or something like that, which is boring, but that's the way it is. Now, has been one time in my life where I've seen something anomalous that I cannot say what it is, and that is when I was in Colombia the first time filming season 1 of Phenomenology. Now, this is a light phenomena that appears on a mountain range on the Andean plateau. For hundreds of years, it's on the historical record, these strange lights, and I was lucky enough to witness them the first year I was out there. And to this day, we've still not been able to figure out exactly what they are. There's a lot of theories and stuff, but it's unidentified. It's a light in the sky, kind of. So, yeah, I guess that's my anomalous sighting.
Hey, so tell me, that's a great segue to Colombia and what you did out there. What, do you have any plans to go back? Are you going like to Peru, or are you going somewhere else? What is going on when it comes to like international travel like that? Are you planning anything?
I think the Colombia thing will always be an ongoing kind of experiment. We did 2 seasons filming this documentary series. The first one, we went out there, we spoke to indigenous people about what they thought these lights were. We witnessed the lights. Fantastic. Second season, we went back out. We wanted to try and recreate these lights. You know, what if these were hikers on this mountain with just really good flashlights? So we bought the most powerful flashlights. We went up the mountain and we did all these experiments. We had thermal drones and everything, and we couldn't even get close to recreating the lights that I witnessed the year before. Now, we've had a little break this year, but I think next year or the year after, we'll probably go back out to Colombia and we'll just continue, hopefully with some equipment, because, you know, we want to collect data. You know, that's what everybody kind of screams out for. So to me, it's an ongoing project. I want to keep doing more. There's nothing like being boots on the ground at a location, at a hot spot, whatever it is. It's the best feeling. So I think I'd like to try and expand that a little bit more. Where I live in the UK, and I'll be back there in like a week and a half or so. There's a couple of local cases that I'm actually going to go and visit the actual locations. I'm going to film it, do maybe some new content for my channel even, you know. So I'm trying to just do more. I'm just trying to do more, you know, trying to keep busy and stuff. So.
There's so much in this subject as far as like angles that you can look into, you know.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna show. I mean, I will talk about that in a second, but we have another question from Car. The unknown object that you've seen, has your thoughts changed? Maybe odd, though, is
maybe odd thoughts.
What does that mean? Yeah.
I mean, I guess from that, like, look, you know, these lights that have been appearing on these mountains, you know, there's a big earth lights. Okay, so these strange earth lights have been recorded around the globe for many years, and we don't know what they are. We talk about ball lightning. These are strange things that happen within a split second, these balls of lightning that disappear. The object that I saw, or the light that I saw, I witnessed for an hour and a half doing strange things on this mountain. So I've had different theories. You know, it could be hikers. It could be something completely anomalous. And speaking to the indigenous people of the area, you know, they believe UFOs. To them, it's just everyday life. Oh, yeah, it's a UFO. Speaking to the local police, they think it's UFOs. You know, so my thoughts and mind has been changed the way, depending how I've been looking at it and who I've been speaking to. And I think this is why, at the end of the day, we want to continue doing the research and these visits out there, is to try and like really get down to the data of, I'm not saying we're going to solve it. I'm just saying like we want to try and gain some understanding about something, because if it turns out to be earthbound, it could still be something very rare and very understudied. So, you know, I'm all in. I'm
with you. And hey, Amy. Good to see you. So I'm so glad you're here. So I love the fact that, I mean, I'm all about ancient civilizations, Peru, that whole Inca Empire, all of, you know, Bolivia, Pumapunku, Teotihuacan, Tiahuanaco. It's like you look at everything South America, like, you know, central towards south. There's something. There's something in the rich. I mean, the culture. The people of Hopi. They know the tribes. They knew the petroglyphs look the same. They have the spirals. You know, some of them track some radiation and some EMF activity. I mean, you can't deny that those things were not created. You know, people tell you that they're created by people with like sticks and stones. Go look at Pumapunku. Those H's are perfect. They're just pristine diamond cut, you know. But then they question their history and their spoken word and their traditions, and all we have to do is look at what they said from back then. They were saying it all along. I don't think they drew things that they dreamt up. I think they drew things that they saw.
I think that's so you raised such a good point. And, you know, I think a lot of people think that our evolution has just been this constant, like we've just been getting more and more technologically advanced. And I don't see it like that, because there are so many things that are thrown up by these ancient sites that you mentioned and others, where I think we've gone up and maybe even come down and gone up and come down over years with lost technologies, lost civilizations and that. I mean, I don't know. It's a very difficult subject to kind of research, because the data is not really there. But it begs the question. It really does beg the question, you know, that what are we missing? There is something missing. And I think there's just this ever kind of, I just want to know, and I'm just so engaged that, you know, I think it's so exciting, and, you know.
I get excited, but then I'm like, I gotta like lowered expectations
Sure,
you know,
yeah.
from that TV, because you can get really excited, and when it doesn't happen, you know, and honestly, the reason I'm kind of coming to peace with that is because I'm more and more convinced that the secret is so much bigger, that it's not just UFOs, that it's a bleeding between worlds, that it's like all of it, that it's all connected. People try to reason like ghosts and paranormal versus, you know, UFOs versus Bigfoot and cryptids, and I'm like, dude, this we're trying to reason with this little brain we got, you
Yeah,
know,
well,
that's
exactly.
filtered probably for our own protection. We don't even know. I mean, it's crazy. It's like we want to know. We're like petulant little kids. We want to know. And it's like, is there a divine time? You know, we say all in divine time, and that's a hard pill to swallow
It is,
for
you
the
know,
curious, you
we
know.
try and anthropomorphize these things. We try and see them so that they make sense to us as humans. But I think at the end of the day, when all is said and done, that the answers that lay out there, the actual answers, whether it be UFOs, Bigfoot, or anything, are probably outside of our frame of mind, that we probably struggle to understand the core of what they actually are. I think it's so far out of our norm that we try and make it, like, we humanize it to make it make sense to us. But I think
Mm-hmm.
all it, you know, I always imagine that if we were to get this final answer, whatever that is it disclosure? I don't know. That it becomes
Mm-hmm.
so much more, so much like, oh, I thought about that, but I didn't think about it that much because it was so far out
Mm-hmm.
there. Like, it's crazy, you know.
Yeah,
It's
because again, we're seeing it with our own filters,
yeah,
and
exactly. Yeah.
this could be so big, and we just are we ready? You know, be careful what you ask for, right?
Well, yeah, that's the
Yeah,
thing. That's a great point. You know,
yeah.
everyone always says, "Yeah, we're not ready." Like, I can only speak for myself. I'm ready. I'm ready.
I know, but some people are ready. But I got to tell you, I tried to open up the subject, and still just people just
Yeah,
get so cringy,
yeah,
uncomfortable at that which they cannot, you know. And I
true.
know that, you know, we were talking about being desensitized to a certain point, little by little. It's like frogs boiling slowly. You don't know till like, oh shit, you're on fire. And people are starting to like be like, oh, that's SpaceX. This is it, though, right? Oh, that must be this. That must be that. If they see something, it's not that rare anymore, because it
No,
could
it's
be
not.
space trash, the satellite, the ISS. We see all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff out here in low light pollution. So you have to taper, you know, you're
No, I
not
think
that
as well.
sensitive to it, you know?
Yeah, I think what I'm really cognizant of as well is people's belief systems. Look, we were out in Colombia. We were presented with a video of an anomalous light. We went out there, boots on the ground. We solved this case and we presented it to the original witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
They would not have it. Nope, no, that's not true. We literally we presented, this is, it wasn't anomalous, this is what happened, it was a light box that broke and blah blah blah. We presented that to them,
Mm-hmm.
they were not having it. No, they were firmly in their beliefs, and I respect that, because
Mm-hmm.
look, I've done my job. If they want to take the data and not roll with it, that's on them. I don't It doesn't make me feel bad in any way. Do you know what I mean? So people are always going to believe what they want to believe, and it's how we nurture those people. You know, if we've
Mm-hmm.
had people who are experiencers, who have, or even abductees, you know, that is a very, very sensitive subject. And I
Mm-hmm.
myself have spoken to many people, and I am not in a position to judge any of them. Whether I believe them or not is irrelevant. The fact is that they believe that something's anomalous happened to them. That enough for me is enough for me to respect them and to talk to them in an adult manner, to let them tell their story and things like that. So you know, things aren't just black and white. You have to navigate this subject so sensitively, let's say. I think, that, I
Well,
mean, it
because
goes on and on.
the waters have been muddied so much by human,
Yeah,
right?
very
So it's
true.
like we don't
Yeah.
even know where human ends and aliens begin. But yeah, I bet you that what you did not do was get into conflict with it. You just
No,
presented what you had, and you just said, that's all I got, and this is what came up, and appreciate. I'm sure that's how it went, and that's how it should
absolutely.
go,
Yeah.
and maybe that's how we fix the freaking problem,
Yeah.
because we got to keep each other accountable with this. It's like if you see somebody just not being, I mean, it's like tolerance. Just a little tolerance, just a little tolerance and respect. This is not hard. We can
Absolutely.
do this,
Totally.
So, Sage, thank you so much for dropping by. Good night, honey. So, and I know that we're heading, I need to ask you one more question, because if I don't ask you about this, yeah. So, actually, two. But the first one is Lou's book coming up. I
Ah.
know that Lou Elizondo, you guys talk. Is there anything you want to say about that, and the fact that people are just losing their minds over the book instead of just letting the process go? So just let us, anything you want to share, not forced. I'm here to ask.
I'm in the same position as everybody out there. I have not been privy to any information about Lou's book. I would like to put that on the record right now.
There we go.
What I will say is, for anybody that, I've interviewed Lou a few times, and on one of the interviews, I think I interviewed him a day after it was announced that he was writing a book. And this is going back a couple of years. And Lou made it very clear that he was writing the book for a very specific reason that will become clear when the book is out. So I would just say to everybody out there that has a lot to say about this book already, and we've not even got it yet, just rein it back in, hold your horses. Let's all read the book. I think it's out in August 20th, something like that. Let's all get the book, read it, and see what happens. Okay. I think it's going to be important. I think there are going to be things in there that make us go, oh, okay. But that's as much as I can sort of say right now that thoughts that I have. I think it's going to be exciting. And
I can't wait. I think it is going to be exciting. And I think, again, that you need to be patient, and we need to let things roll. But I do have to call somebody out right now. First of all, real quick, Diane Boss, nice to see you, sweetie. And oh my God, Hectic Stargazer Cindy. This is one of my best friends in the whole wide world.
Hi, Cindy.
And I'm going to play something because I have an announcement.
All right.
She got married today, you guys.
What?
Everybody congratulates Hectic Stargazer Cindy, who got married today and still dropped by here.
Congratulations, Cindy.
Hold on, I even have a banner. Check this out. I'm like, so good.
Yeah.
I even have a banner for you. Cindy and Leslie got married. Nice. So anyway, we like to celebrate our people, our special people. Thank you so much for being here on this special night. And you better go have fun, girl. It's your wedding night. But I appreciate her. There we go. Cheers. Everybody just, let's toast to Cindy and Leslie.
Cindy and Leslie.
Everybody. There we go. Thank you so much for being here, Cindy. I know. So, and I promised you I was going to get you out of here by 7:15. So I'm going to stand by that, because I have a little outro for us. And first of all, I want to talk to you about, what do you have going on next? Where can we find you? What's going on? Because you do conferences and all kinds of stuff. So where can we find you next? Plug away, buddy.
That's a good question. Right now, for anybody that doesn't know, I'm actually in the US right now. I've been here for about 5 weeks, spend a lot of time here. So I've kind of had a little bit of a mini kind of vacation. But as you mentioned there, I do conferences. So I recently did a virtual conference with under Richard Dolan's banner, which was the RF conference.
I was
We
there.
had you were there. We had a whole bunch of great speakers and attendees. It was amazing. I love doing that. So I think in the coming weeks, I'm going to start thinking about plans to do another one of those.
Ooh, I'll totally be there because I enjoyed that. I
They're
think
great.
that was
They're great.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get to hang out for 2 days with everyone in those chat rooms, and it's as good. It's almost as
It
good as
was
being
so
there in
good.
person. Yeah.
It was so good because I got to tell you, in others, you don't get that personal, like that personal touch where we get to sit on Zoom with these people and have conversations. And that's really cool to be able to do it without having to travel. So if you do that, let me know and I'll plug it away on
Oh,
my channel. Oh my
of
God, Helen!
course.
Helen of
Hey,
Crystals.
Helen.
Yeah, because I get such cool peeps that love to go to conferences. We're like dying to figure out our next conference in person because I got to
Yeah,
get out there, man. It's
I
like
know.
doing it remotely is too hard. I'm like, get me out on the floor. I'm like a kid with the hypo child with the tether that you
Oh,
have
no,
to hold me back.
I feel exactly the same way. That, like, as much as I love doing these virtual conferences, there's nothing like doing the in-person one. So I am hoping to get out to the US again next year, maybe for Contact in the Desert 2025. But yeah, I mean, for the rest of this year, I do have ideas. I want to, obviously for anybody that is aware of my YouTube channel, it's an interview-based one, interview. I want to do something new with that. So I'm having some ideas about
Cool.
adding maybe some new content to that. I do have some plans towards the end of the year for something quite big. Can't say much about that. I'm trying to
It's
think of it.
okay. I don't want to get you in
I hate.
trouble, buddy. I'll be like, drink another beer. Why don't you get another beer and keep talking to us?
I'm just, you know what? I'm just going to
Curious.
keep doing what I'm doing. This is the beautiful thing about this subject is that one day I can just wake up and there's an email in my inbox with an opportunity, and I grasp every opportunity with both hands and I take it. So anything can happen between now and the end of this year. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to keep interacting with people, spreading positivity, all the good stuff that people want. I just want to. I can't sit still in this subject. I always want to be doing something that more. So you'll
I know
see
sometimes I'm like, I'll relax, and then all of a sudden you hear about, a new Nazca mummy or a new petroglyph that was found, or another dig at Göbekli Tepe or any of the tepes over in Turkey. I mean, I'm like obsessed with these places I've never been to. And you got to wonder where that obsession came from. For you, back to the beginning of the show, it's like it started very early on. It's like that curiosity, that not being happy with the status quo. There's that drive in you that started
it's
when
that
you were so
childhood
young.
curiosity that's never left me. I'm still a big kid,
Hey, you know what? Age is a number, and I think your personality. I'm childish at times, and I like to laugh because what is the freaking point of being sad? When you laugh, everything just it's like the pressure is just gone.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm going to give you back to Carol. This was, but I do have a closing. So first of all, I do want to say thank you everybody in the chat. You see, my chat's really lovely. And no issues. They're like really cool. They're just very sweet. You got SoCal. You have Helen. She's been to conferences too. Carnundrum asking all kinds of questions. Yes, and we're gonna be talking, Car, because there's something coming. We're gonna start doing some more shows. So Diane Boss, I'm just so happy. Kelly Lewis, thank you so much, you guys. Paranormal Pixie, she was at Roswell.
Yeah,
You probably met her, the purple hair and prepared Laura, our sweet Laura.
Always
She's such a sweetie.
Pleasure. Love Laura.
And you guys remember the name of this channel, The Cosmic Carousel, because you're going to be seeing some stuff coming up. I'm not going to ruin it. So, and to everybody, thank you so much. And I always have outros. So I love music. I love making music videos. And one of the things that I found that I thought it'd be really cool to kind of end our lovely conversation with, and I'm really happy I picked it, is the first music video filmed in space. I'm going to give a very brief, because I don't want to get in copyright trouble, and I'm going to put the link. I'm going to put the link to the original video on the video description. But this is the beginning of Chris Hadfield is a Canadian astronaut, in case you hadn't seen it, singing a really special song from the ISS. So I'm gonna put you back there for a second. I want to say goodnight. After, can you hang in there for a second? You got to go.
No,
I'm hang in there backstage, and I love you guys. I'm gonna play this, and in a couple of weeks, I'm gonna have Old Vet Symposium Shane. We're gonna be talking. Guess what we're gonna be talking about? Special programs, because I'm like, we're going to be talking about the historical special programs and MK Ultra and all that fun stuff that we got to look at history to know what's happening in the future and what's happening 100%. Today. It's all right there in the past. So hang in there. Mwah. I'll see you in a second, Vinny. Say bye to Vinny, everybody. Put hearts for Vinny, and then I'm going to play us off with this lovely video. Thank you all for being here, and here we go. I will see you in a couple of weeks with Old Vet Symposium. And where's my video? Here we go. Good night. Love you all.
Ground control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom. Lock your Soyuz hatch and put your helmet on. 10. Ground control 9, to Major Tom. 8, 7, 6. Commencing countdown, engines on. 3, 2. Detach from station and may God's love be with you.